Okay, so we've talked a lot about bolstering your mental states and capabilities. So let's go back to the physical side of things for a bit. You can also grow and expand your powers of creation through building your breathing along with your meditative strength. Some of my favorite practices are the various Kundalini breathing techniques. They're really freaking powerful. That's actually how I had my first out-of-body experience, was by practicing Kundalini breathing and different kinds of breathing. And that's, how I started getting into all this stuff and really, I just remember that day like it was yesterday. I was doing some really deep breathing with Vairagya and doing some Kundalini breathing before that. And I opened my eyes right after the meditation, I think right around when I was like 16, 17, maybe 18, around that time. And all I saw was like these beautiful colors. I just felt pure bliss inside, and like, I don't know, I've never experienced anything like it. And I was just like, what is this feeling? I literally felt pure joy and like rush of bliss inside of me. And I was just kind of like floated above, and I was like, wow, like what just happened? Complete out of body experience. And it was pretty wild. So they're powerful, and they can literally activate your DNA and turn on things that you've never actually thought you had inside of you. So just to give you a little background, Kundalini is derived from a Sanskrit word called kundal, meaning coiled up. That's present in 3.5 coils at the base of your spine in your sacrum. The Latin os sacrum suggests that this is the sacred part of the body. The ancient Greeks called it hirion ostion, and noticing that it was the last bone to be destroyed when the body is burnt. And that's why the Greeks basically attributed supernatural powers to it. Even the Egyptians considered the sacrum to be the seat of special power. Kundalini is also called the serpent power because the 3.5 coils are often compared to that of a snake. When this energy is dormant, it lays like a coiled snake. When its tail is in its mouth, resting at the base of your body in your root chakra. However, when you activate this dormant Kundalini energy through yoga and breathing and some of these meditations, it flows freely. And it actually starts uncoiling, and it starts going upward through the successive chakras of your body. The amazing force can lead to an expanded state of consciousness, commonly known as Kundalini awakening. The correlation between the power of this activated energy and healing and medicine is linked as far back as the ancient Greeks. There was a Greek god, Asclepius, associated with healing and medicine. And it had a serpent entwined rod that had continued to be a use of this symbol and medicine and healthcare around the world. And the parallels don't stop there. Snakes are used in every single ancient scripture. If you look at the Egyptian staff of Osiris, it not only depicts the cobras that has them rising up to meet at the pine cone, which is like your pineal gland, right? We've said this before, as your pineal gland is really important, and the pine cone basically represents the pineal gland, and the snakes going up it is the Kundalini energy rising within it. I like to think of Kundalini breathing techniques as a direct, non-stop jet route to accessing the power that's just laying coiled up at the base of your spine. There are lots of benefits to Kundalini. It can balance your glandular system, strengthen the 72,000 nerves that are in your body, expand your lung capacity, and even purify your bloodstream. It's also an awesome tool to tap into to help kind of balance your chakras and relax your mind and body and soul. And it allows you to actually use that energy. You can use it in Vairagya, and you can just imagine that energy going up your spine, like I was saying in previous exercises. Kundalini is very, very powerful. So mastering your breath can literally determine whether you live or you die. Well, yeah, it's true, right? You think I'm being dramatic? Well, consider this. Envision that you're walking through a jungle in the late afternoon, just enjoying the sights and sounds of the birds and the tree frogs and the breeze, right? And the light filtering down, kind of through the jungle canopy, right? When all of a sudden, around the corner, you come face to face with like a ravenous looking tiger. Yep, and now imagine yourself. You're face to face with a man-eating tiger. So here's your defining moment. What you do next will determine the outcome of this life or death encounter. And it all comes down to your breath. Yep, that's right. Simply controlling your breath can save your life. And this is not a joke. Instead of letting your heart start to pound out of control, with that kind of come and eat me, signal to the hungry tiger, You can control your breath, thereby keeping your heart rate steady and change your entire life situation. Think about that for a second. I've used slowing down your breathing and slowing down your heartbeat to quite literally change an exact outcome in a not a life or death situation, but very close. It was a life-threatening situation. And I used my breath to completely calm myself down. And in that knowing, in that space of being calm and assertive, is when that power actually becomes very active. So, how do you want your life to go? Kind of eaten by a tiger? Not eaten by a tiger? It's really that simple. So, if you're like me, you probably learned how to swim or play the piano or throw a ball. But I'm curious, how many of you were actually taught how to breathe? I'd venture to guess that it's not many of you, and without ever learning how to consciously harness your breath, you're really missing out. There are hundreds of breathing exercises out there. There's breath of fire, there's alternate nostril breathing, which I briefly touched on in level 1, then there's bandhas or breath locks that I introduced you to the basic concepts of sexual transmutation in level 2. But some of those are seriously advanced, so what we'll do is we'll dive into those later. However, to get you off the path of the tiger bait and onto the path to mastering the power of your breath, let's start out with one of the most applicable and easy breaths you can master. It's called long, deep breathing. It's really very simple. Begin in a relaxed position, seated or even laying down, but being mindful of keeping the spine long and straight. Take a deep breath in through your nostrils, and then slowly exhale it through your nostrils as you close your eyes. Take 3 breaths this way, letting the audible sound of your breath fill your mind. Now, inhale with a deep, full breath and slowly move your belly outward, filling it with air like a balloon, letting your diaphragm naturally move down as it creates an expansion in your lungs for this prana or life force and energy to come and enter your body. On the exhale, expel the air out from the belly through the nose and draw the navel to the spine to be sure that the belly is completely empty. Take 5 deep breaths this way. This yogic breath is called Dirga Pranayama, and it's the foundation to a deep meditative practice. Notice how your mind and body feel as you draw the breath in and out. At the next inhale, take in the breath the same way as you have been, but this time, inhale a bit more, expanding your ribcage. Then on the exhale, Let it go from your rib cage, bringing them closer together. Then the belly, allowing your navel to meet the spine again. Take another 5 breaths in this way as your rib cage expands here. Check in on the length of the inhale, being mindful of keeping your exhale just as deep and as long. At this final breath, continue with your ribcage expanding, but this time take in a little bit more breath to fill the upper chest, and allow your heart center to rise up to your collarbone and the base of your throat. Feel this expansion of heart with your body and your mind. At the exhale, let it go from your chest first, letting your heart sink as your rib cage meets once again, and lastly release the air from the belly, bringing the navel to the spine. Keeping your eyes closed, let the stillness of your being receive creativity and calming. Quite often in a fast-paced world, we're accustomed to shallow breathing patterns. Continuing this 3-part Dirga breath will instill a habit of deep breathing that will eventually happen naturally. Gently open your eyes. When you're ready, visit your project book and capture your thoughts, emotions, and feelings that arouse during this exercise.